What's happening, everybody? Shot from the Point News with another Onision update. I told you we'd keep real close track of this story, and we are. And the prime place, if you like streaming, to catch him is really the investigation is being pushed, done, and God, I think he's God's work by none other than Chris Hansen himself. His channel is called Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. If you want to see this stuff happen in real time, Chris doing excellent work interviewing victims and pushing an investigation forward, as well as holding YouTube's feet to the fire. Now, I would initially thought that Chris would have had a lot more success than any single YouTuber, considering his network TV experience, considering his reputation. But it looks like Chris ran into some red tape speaking to YouTube. Now they're getting evasive. Sit down, buckle up. Let's watch this part of Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. I got to be honest with you, I'm a little shocked. Here we go.
Now, as for YouTube, I think I've mentioned before, I know I have, that I have reached out to YouTube to talk about this very topic and what YouTube is doing to keep the airwaves safe from predators, from grooming and enticement, and some of the things and the allegations that we've seen leveled against Gregory Jackson and Kai. And initially, I reached out to Susan Wojcicki, who is the CEO of YouTube, and to be honest with you, she got right back and said, you know, let's try to figure out who the right person from our organization would be to talk to you. I then began dealing with somebody from their media relations department, and weeks have gone by now. And I had a conversation yesterday in which I was told basically, well, we don't comment on individual streamers. I sort of get that because there are millions of streamers and they can't comment on each one. And in fact, there has not been a criminal charge filed against Gregory Jackson or Kai. And then I asked, well, can somebody just come on and talk about overall, how does YouTube monitor streamers for illegal predatory behavior, and what can be done to create a safe environment? Now, I get this is not an easy one-size-fits-all solution.
So what he's saying is, and he's giving YouTube the benefit of the doubt at this point, it's a little difficult to go after Onision, and I know a lot of you guys want him done, deleted. It's not that easy from a legal standpoint. He has not been convicted. There is apparently an investigation going on, according to Chris Hansen. But it'd be very difficult, if not legally risky, to say Onision. But Chris Hansen realizes that and says, okay, what are your policies for somebody that is predatory? Now, somebody popped into my head, WillyMacShow, still on the site as far as I know, still very much a part of the site. There was no legal action. I shouldn't say that. There was legal action taken against WillyMacShow. I apologize. There was no YouTube action taken against WillyMacShow even after his conviction. So it shows, it really is amazing. They are so quick to take monetization away from guys like Count Dankula. And we have a clear-cut case of people using the platform for predatory. This is clear-cut. We're not talking just accusations. We have clear-cut incidents over the years, spanning over a 10-year period. And they didn't cut WillyMacShow, and it looks like they're not going to cut Onision. So what Chris is saying, explain to me what qualifies. And they won't do that. Explain to me what you're doing. And they won't do that. That's concerning, and I think it's really bad PR if the FBI does dig something up damning on Onision. And you had Chris Hansen barking at you saying, hey, look, let's work together and get this solved right. And you sort of blew him off. Chris goes on.
I, more than virtually anybody in America, respect the First Amendment. People say stuff about me all the time. I've been a public figure for a long time. People take shots at me, at my family, all kinds of things. I get it. My skin is tough as a rhino. But when you've got vulnerable people who potentially have been victims of this guy and others. I don't understand for the life of me why somebody from YouTube doesn't come on this program. And I offered to fly out there with a camera crew and put the whole thing on tape. I understand it's being live is not for everybody and doesn't fit into everybody's corporate media strategy. But to be told that I'll review it with the team, we usually don't do interviews, and maybe I can refer you to some past statements on our policies about safety and preventing predatory behavior is absolutely unacceptable. It just isn't acceptable. And I'm going to keep pounding away at this until I get some answers. Now, I know they...
I really actually wonder if Susan Wojcicki knows this. Did she pass this off to get red taped up? Maybe possible. Did she pass this off to get this to be taken care of? Only to find your way into the YouTube red tape hell? Now, I don't particularly think that YouTube has to go on Chris Hansen's show. But I think it's completely reasonable to make a policy clear. What happens when a streamer / content creators is committing real life crimes that have nothing to do with protected speech? Nothing to do with politics. I mean, look at this. Mr. Medica, Count Dankula, losing a Crowder. All these things were taking off of speech and what newspapers were saying about different content creators. So that was political, and that was considered safety. Now we have an example of somebody potentially, allegedly, taking advantage of minors and using their YouTube fame. Well, those are the Crowder decision seems to be a lot easier than this situation. In fairness to YouTube, you got to keep it. There's been no conviction. There's been no arrest. So that's fine. You got to protect yourself. You could open up yourself to a pretty expensive lawsuit to Onision. I get that. But what's the policy? When somebody acts like this, what your statements were in the past? Well, I can think of one line maker. None. I can't drive this home enough. This is not a free speech issue. This is YouTube creators using their power against minors in a sexual manner. That's the accusation here. Now, if you don't want to comment on Onision because that hasn't been proven without a shadow of a doubt, yeah, fine. But what's your policy if it does happen? I think we're finding out that Chris Hansen isn't. I mean, I can't. Due to what happened to PewDiePie, the apocalypse with the Wall Street Journal, I would have thought that YouTube would have rolled and answered quick. But I would have figured that because Chris Hansen, that his reputation, the fact that he had that To Catch a Predator was such a big show. I possibly don't know what I'm talking about, but maybe it's time for Chris to talk to some of his guys that are in network TV. I can't believe that Chris Hansen isn't enough to get YouTube to make a public statement. All right, he doesn't go on Catch. All right, he doesn't go on Catch Predator. He doesn't go on Have a Seat. Yeah, okay. All right, fine. But I don't think it's unreasonable to make a clear-cut statement. But, that's been the problem with YouTube over the years. It really has, hasn't it? It's very simple. We don't make statements. We don't make a clear-cut set of rules. That way we can react quickly and pretty much do what the hell they want, not be accountable to any kind of standard. And I think that's in a lot of ways, I'm glad that Chris is running into this, being a mainstream network guy or coming from that background. He inspired a whole genre. I think pretty good genre here on YouTube. But now he's catching a lot of the red tape and the garbage that we've been catching over there for years. So I tell you something, Chris has been welcomed with open arms over here, which is not easy for legacy media types to do. And I think he's doing great work. I never get the feeling when he puts on one of these girls, it's just a smear campaign. It's not like a I Am Alex situation, making false allegations or just lining up. These people do seem credible, and they usually have DMs and stuff to back it up. Chris has done a great job. I officially anoint you a non-normie. But I'm shocked that Chris didn't have the pull for them to make a clear-cut statement. Because in the past, when the Matt's What It Is situation blew up, when the Wall Street Journal stuff blew up, they're treating Chris like he's one of us. He's not. And if he has any strings to pull, I would pull him because this is a serious issue.